Today I want to look at the Nash 65 pound thrust engine and the Fox also 65 pound thrust engine. And I thought there'd be kind of like a good comparison here because they're similar price range, they're ever so slightly different I think, similar models etc. But there are a few differences between them that you might be interested in. And I'm going to get straight into talking about first the Fox motor. Now, from the looks of it, I have to be honest, it really doesn't look any different to the Nash apart from the casing and the handle. So I imagine they're assembled and made in a similar factory with similar parts. The mountings are almost exactly the same, if not the same. The crocodile clips are the same crocodile clips. The wire gauge is the same. The only thing that's different on the Fox and the Nash are the actual head shapes, which have probably been designed differently in-house or different specs. Now, having said that, one thing I would say is that the handles on both of these are plastic, and if you've got wet hands or you're throwing in bait regularly off the boat, which we all are, of course, on these trips, it was actually quite hard to twist and manoeuvre these handles. But if I'm looking further down, both of the shafts are almost exactly the same length. I'd say the Nash one is probably 3 or 4 inches longer than the Fox one, which personally I actually found a little bit difficult. We were fishing off of what was effectively a beach area, and every time I came into beach from putting a rod out or from playing a fish, the engine had to come up anyway because we had around about 30 foot of 1 foot water in front of us, and having a longer shaft actually made that a little bit more awkward, less room in the boat once you tilted it. So from a practicality point of view, the Fox one is probably better if you're fishing shallower venues or you're beaching the boat regularly. Like I said, moving down, whilst they're very different shapes, I found that the output at level 5, level 4, level 3 were very similar when we tested these. I've got 2 individual boats. You'll see that I've also reviewed the Nash and the Fox boat. We used the Fox motor on the Fox boat, naturally, and the Nash motor on the Nash boat. And I actually found that there really wasn't a huge amount of difference between the two, if any, to be perfectly honest. The output was the output. One thing we did notice, and this may be because the Fox boat had more in it, more regularly, and we used it more consistently for our fishing purposes. One thing we did notice was that the Fox boat, the Fox motor, did seem to draw more from the battery at level 5. And I learned that the hard way by wearing out an entire battery quite quickly. So if I was using these motors, I'd definitely try and stick to using them on a level 4 or below, unless I was gunning it to a swim or trying to catch up with a fish. So in short bursts, I think that's okay. But the top end of each motor, so level 3 or number 3 in reverse and number 5 in forward, they do really drain the batteries quite quickly. So having said that though, the draw and the drain on level 4, so 1 below the top speed, was actually pretty reasonable. So from that point of view, if you look at both of these, both of them have an extendable handle, which came in really handy actually. Something I didn't think would make a difference, but it did. When you're sat in a particular area of the boat playing a fish and you need to reach behind you, that came in quite handy. Both have a voltage readout on there, and the Fox has a little orange button to tell you if the battery is on or off, but you can tell that by looking at the voltmeter. I really didn't look at the voltage meter. It didn't make any difference to me other than telling you what the draw was from the battery. Moving down, like I said, the shaft on the Nash is ever so slightly longer. I'm pretty sure of it looking at them here, but the actual engines at the very bottom where the props are mounted, the propellers look almost exactly the same. The engine itself, the motor itself, looks exactly the same. The parts are the same, even down to the parts on the actual motors, on the actual housing assembly and the thing you use to attach to your boat are all exactly the same. So I don't think it really matters what one of these, if you're looking for an engine for your first trip to France, you buy, but I would not buy any lower than a 65 pound thrust engine. We had to deal with reasonable winds, 30 to 35, 40 mile per hour gusts. And I would say that even on a level 4 and 5 with both of these, it didn't quite feel as though it was gunned enough if the wind had got any higher than that. So I wouldn't go down to a 45 pound thrust engine if you're thinking of tackling bigger lakes in France. Both reliable, both stuck with us through all weather. Even scratching the propellers on 1 foot of surface, 1 foot below the surface, they were durable. I would definitely buy yourself a spare propeller, and when you're going, a little bit of advice on these trips, take an adjustable wrench or an adjustable spanner, so that if you do get braid, speaking from experience, wrapped around your propeller, you can undo the bolt, quickly undo the braid. I never ever got in a tangle, it just wrapped around the shaft of the propeller shaft, and you can undo that, and you can row yourself back, obviously, etc., etc., without actually losing any line and costing you hundreds of pounds in braid. Both very similar. I really don't think it makes a huge difference. Personally, having known that now, I probably would have chosen the Nash one, which was slightly cheaper, I believe, but it really comes down to brand preference.